everyone, I'm coming to you from my summer holiday to film Will I Buy That? The Slimline Santa edition. Now I have it on very good authority that Santa, like the rest of the world, has been on Ozempic or some other GLP-1 and he's feeling really good about himself. He's fit, he's healthy, he's slimline, and he's already started thinking about your Christmas presents and your Christmas stocking. So you need to see what his selection is going to be. So watch on. Let's kick off with Chanel. Why not? What better place to start? And we have got a colour story called Starry Nights. Oh, very romantic. We've got a lovely new quad. Now, I do like these colours. Let me tell you what the shades are. The top left is described as a deep and bright purple silver. Oh, that sounds good. Nice and shimmery. And the top right is a lustrous aqua blue. This is so my colour story. Bottom left, a matte silver grey. I love a silver grey. And the bottom right is a satin lavender. I don't know about you, but for me, I find exciting. I'm not normally excited by Chanel eyeshadows. I mean, I sometimes are, but these, you know, and if there's a bit of pigment and a bit of vim in them, I'm up for it. And then we've got a coloured mascara. I do love a colourful mascara, I do. And they're calling it Anthracite, which is excellent. A nice, deep, coal coloured mascara. I hope it's good, I really do. Now, it looks like it's in the Allure shade. Now, there's Noir Allure, isn't there, which I remember getting a while ago. And I just don't remember much about it. I obviously didn't love it so much that I repurchased it, but also with mascaras, you know, there's no shortage of black mascaras, so I'm not always that loyal to a black mascara, so who knows? But I'm definitely here for it because I do like a coloured mascara, and a dark grey can be fantastic, so I'm here for it. And then we've also got two what look like liquid liners, the sort of fine liquid liners. The colours, I'm a bit worried about this. What do you think? One of them is called Flamboyant, so flamboyant. Now, maybe that's an electric blue, I don't know. I can't tell from the picture, but you know, the name does imply that it's going to be something bright. And then they've got Écarlate, which is basically French for scarlet. I'm worried about that. I'm not sure I want red on my eyes, especially over Christmas when things can get a bit too much for me and I can end up in tears. So do I need more of that? Probably not. But I dare say it will look fantastic on the model. But anyway, you've got the choice of scarlet liner, it seems, and another flamboyant liner. I'm a bit worried, but I will seek solace, I think, in the Anthracite mascara. Yeah, a bit worried about that, but the eyeshadows and the mascara, for me, yep, I want Santa to fill my stockings with those. Now on to the blushes. We've got two blushes, and I'm a bit worried about these because this is the kind of sort of layout I don't particularly like, but you may. So we've got a pinkish shade, a rose lumiere, and we've got a pêche lumiere and a peachy shade. I'm worried because I can see we've got maybe a bit of a highlighter situation going on in a strip, and then you kind of got to be delicate with your brush, and I'm not a delicate person at all. But you may be, and it may well be that the tone above, as we're looking, is a slightly deeper tone, in which case maybe you can just swirl it around. I don't know. I just worry. That's just not a kind of a layout that kind of works for me personally. But you may well be much more delicate than me. I kind of clomp around makeup wise. So know thyself, as we say. Now, lipsticks. I'm somewhat intrigued by the offerings here. So we have got, I'm just going to turn my page because I wrote some notes on this. Now, we have got what I think is probably the Rouge Allure range. You know the Rouge Allure Extra range? I think they're refillable. Now, I don't think I've tried this range, and I think there's a reason why I haven't tried it. I think that I didn't like the shades. I do sometimes struggle with shades with Chanel. I find them too red, too purple, too kind of in your face and on your face. So yeah, so that's a problem for me. However, it looks like we've got two shades, Rouge V and Abstract. Now, I can't tell, I don't know, can you tell from the picture? They look pretty red to me. I'm not a reds person, so, and it would be, you know, reds and crimsons would be kind of the natural shade that you would probably use with a lovely sort of blue grey toned eyeshadow. It's just, I'm not a red person, but I'm sure they're going to be lovely. I mean, I'm sure, you know, I always admire red and crimson lips on other people. It just doesn't suit me. And then we've also got what I think is the Rouge Allure Lac shade, which again is very, you know, it's quite kind of dense colours. And we've got incandescent and we've got nebula. I'm assuming that it's incandescent and nebula and not incandescent nebula, because sometimes I have noticed in the limited editions in this range, the shades have two words to a name. Does that make sense? You know, instead of one word for the name, you have two words for the name. But maybe in this case, given that they do look slightly different, so let's assume that one's incandescent and the other one is nebula. So that's the offering. Now, when you look at the nails, I'm quite intrigued by this. Now, I have, as I've said before, I have shellac on my nails. I cannot be trusted to paint my own nails. However, they have got, it looks like a really lovely, deep, sort of grey blue shade, and it just looks really lovely. Now, these shades, I just admire other people. When I wear blues or greens on my nails, people get worried and it looks like I've got a fungal infection or I've slammed my hand in a prison door or something. But on other people, it can look so chic. So I am looking forward to enjoying this shade on other people. And then we've got something called Alchemist, which, you know, looks like a lovely kind of scarlet. But, you know, yeah, that's probably less, that may be less unique, I don't know, but that bluey grey shade looks really rather lovely. Now, it looks like Chanel is also going to give us some limited edition packaging for 2025 for their fragrances, well, for at least some of their fragrances. So you can see here's the selection. I'm delighted to see that they've got some of the men's fragrances there, because that will definitely be on Christmas lists in my household, so that's a good thing. And it'll also save on a bit of wrapping on my part, because, you know, Santa's not always good at wrapping. I have noticed. I think probably he gets a bit frazzled, as I do. Anyway, I'm delighted to see, however, that number 5 is getting some limited edition packaging, because I am a number 5 fan. I love Chanel 5. I always have. So I'm delighted about that. And we're also getting 2 body oils. I love a Chanel body oil. I love Chanel body products, fragrance body products. I go bananas for. So we have got number 5, and we've also got Cocoa, which I'm also here for. So I'm very, very pleased. Now, there is something else. If you look at this picture, I'm hoping it's a number 5, maybe a limited edition handbag spray or something. I don't know. It looks rather nice. Look at the little star. I'm such a sucker for this, honestly. You'd have thought by now I would be more cynical, but I'm not. Anything like this is just delightful in fragrance. It's such a treat. So, Chanel has got quite a lot for us to get excited about. Are you excited by this Chanel offering? I don't know. I mean, for someone like me, who's not really a Chanel kind of eyeshadow person, it's the eyeshadows I'm thinking about. And that embossing does make them more special. I know it costs them nothing. I know that. They've got a little elf just sitting there stamping. I understand that. But I like it. What can I do? It makes me happy. Let's go on to the next one. Now, before I go on to tell you about both Lancome and Dior, I would just like to have a quick word with you regarding the new Charlotte Tilbury pending palette, which looks like it's going to be part of the Christmas offering. We don't know what else is out there yet, but we do know, and you'll have seen it in previous videos of mine, that there are 2 palettes coming out. Here's one of the colorways that I'm showing you, but now we've got a little bit of video on the packaging, and I just wanted to share it with you because last time I was a bit sniffy about the packaging because it just looked a little bit too utilitarian. But if we look at this now, we can see that it is shimmery and lovely and exciting and festive and actually completely on brand for Charlotte. I am so relieved because I just didn't want I didn't want to see something from her that had kind of packaging and kind of, a lid that looked a bit like, you know, the seating on agricultural machinery or something, but it doesn't at all. I mean, unless it's a particularly flamboyant farmer, you know, driving the tractor. But this is really good. I just wanted to update you because I had been sniffy last time and I do regret it, and I won't be doing it again, Charlotte, honestly. Now on to Lancôme. Now you'll remember from previous video, we do know that this is coming out from Lancôme and it does look absolutely lovely. We've discussed this before. It does look like they're bringing out a product that looks like it might be, disappointingly, a lip and cheek product to go with it. I just cannot get it. I hate dual purpose products. I just hate them. I think what it is I am very much a UK citizen and I've still got the trauma of the Teasmade. And if you don't know what a Teasmade is, you're probably not watching this in the UK. But just quickly, this was an invention by somebody who had clearly had too many edibles and thought, I will combine an alarm clock with a tea making facility. So the alarm would go off and the tea would be made at the same time, and it made horrible tea and the alarm was just alarming. Basically, it was a horrible sound and it was just awful. The whole thing was awful. So, you know, stick to one product is what I'm trying to. It's a long-winded way of saying stick to one product. My lips and my cheeks are not the same part of my body. Okay, that's it. We have different needs. So that's that. However, there is something much more interesting to talk about than a product that I'm not particularly excited by. So now look at this. Now this is very much up my street beyond belief, okay? This is something that has been shown to us by Glowscope 1 very kindly, and this is called the Adventurous Palette. Oh, it's all sounding really good. Okay, so it's a limited edition for 2025 and it's a collector's design. Let me read you how it is described. It is a dreamy mix of glowing blushes and shimmering eyeshadows, wrapped in magical holiday packaging, inspired by wintry wonderlands and starry nights. Okay, so Chanel also had starry nights. So are they using ChatGPT? Could this be? A bit lazy there, but never mind. We don't know who came up with it first, so I don't want to judge. You know me. Basically, each shade is embossed with enchanting Parisian motifs. Now, if I look close up, it actually looks like a train. So is that the SNCF? I don't know. And I can discern the word happiness, I think. I mean, it's a bit like an eye test, you know. I can see happiness and I can see Paris. Those are the two words that are discernible. I think it's a train. What do you think? I'm not sure. But anyway, and it says that we have got soft mattes and brilliant shimmers, perfect for festive looks. This is right up my street. I'm very excited by this. And I like the fact that it's just it's just a palette. It's not doing anything funny down the sides, which the first one is presumably to hold the, you know, the Teasmade thing, the lip cheek thingy, what's it? I don't know. That just looks a bit plasticky, but I don't know, let's see. I might love it. I might be, you know what, I might be trying to convince you to buy one along with me and join my club in November. Who knows? But anyway, my point is this Adventurous palette is particularly exciting. The other one's exciting to me as well. It just seems a bit more bulky. But this looks lovely as well. Very, very exciting. And I'm so here for Lancome eyeshadows. I do wonder whether the divine Lisa Eldridge has curated this one as well. I don't know. I really hope so. Anyway, so this is very, very exciting, and I really hope, Santa, you're paying attention and you're not knocking back the pina coladas just because it's August. Pay attention, Santa, because I want this, okay? And finally, on to Dior, which has an enormous offering. Now, take a look at this. I think it gets better as we kind of go along. I think it starts off disappointingly, and I'll tell you what it starts with. It starts off with a multifunctional palette. I really take objection to these. These are the kind of things that I pick up at airports for teenage relatives, to be honest with you, because it's really nice as a teenager to get something like this. As an adult human, less so. To me, these kind of products scream lazy spouse or partner who, you know, picks it up as a shorthand for the contempt they can't even be bothered to express as a Christmas gift. It's a no. And to them and to Dior, I sort of say, you know what? Try harder. This is not good. They're just a bit tacky, but they, you know, they do wheel them out most years. So presumably they really work for them financially, and you know, it's a real kind of grab a gift and that kind of stuff. All I'm saying is, if anybody gave me that, as in terms of like a close relationship, that relationship is dead. It's over. Anyway, the other thing that we've also got is we've got a well, it's not really a cinq couleurs, but we have got what they call a 5-colour eyeshadow palette. It's just not, you know, the actual 5 colours that we're kind of used to. They do look a bit worryingly pinky burgundy, but you know, I don't know. I'm not going to be picking those up. Again, it's all a bit duty free to me. So it's not that I don't like duty free. I just don't like these kind of things that are made for duty free. But anyway, that's a personal thing. Again, for teenagers, fabulous. So just so you know, the big palette has got 4 lip glosses, 2 highlighters, 2 blushes, and the usual 5 couleurs sort of in the middle, but again, we don't know what that quality is going to be like, so that's what they've got. Presumably they are different shades to the 5 eyeshadows, the 5 rectangles that we can see. I mean, they do look slightly similar, but they wouldn't be. I'm sure they'll be, you know, they will be different. And now onto the most substantial Christmassy part of the range. We have got 2 new eyeshadow palettes in really lovely gold Christmassy packaging. We have got the fiery gold look, and we've got a plum look. So the fiery gold look is $639 and it's called Fiery Circus. Does it look like it's got embossing on? Because, you know, we have kind of got used to oh yes, we have got a bit of embossing here again on it. Okay, so we've got Fiery Circus, which looks like we've got some golds and some burgundies in there, and some rose gold tones, I think. And then we have got Plum Parade, bit of a saucy name there, and that's 912 Plum Parade. And we have got very much plums, and looks like there's a bit of grey in there as well, a silvery grey. So a cool look and a warm look, so that's nicely organised. Now, Fiery Circus has got a pearly rose gold, looks like a Dior show stylo. I do like these, they are nice. They don't last very long. I mean, they last throughout the day. They just don't last very long like over the days, but it'll be fine for over Christmas. You'll get a good month's wear, or I would get a good month's wear out of it. And then Plum Parade comes with 187. As I said, it looks like it's Dior stylo, pearly plum. So both of those stylos for me, I would definitely like. I had a rose gold Chanel stylo many years ago, which was stolen from my car while I was having a mammogram, and that's basically all I remember about that somebody, you know, took it down the pub and sold it, and it was such a nice shade, and I never kind of got over that loss, and I'm like constantly looking for it. So maybe the pearly rose gold from Dior will do it. Anyway, that's enough of my trauma. So let me tell you how these are described, because we do have a description. The makeup, the cinq couleurs, are described as rich jewel tones with gold accents and velvet finishes. That all sounds good. I am here for them. I don't know what you think. I will probably end up buying both, not least for review purposes, because I think it's just a really lovely way of being able to show both. You know, I think you do want to see both if you're going to take a decision, because they are so different. But for my own personal use, I would immediately buy the pencils, immediately. It's just a question of whether the eyeshadows have got the same intensity as the last couple of offerings from the lilac. In fact, the actual lilac offering, which was the last one that I reviewed of Dior, where the pigment was really surprisingly good, and the blendability, and that formula just seems to have got better and better. So if that's the case, I'm here for it, but I'll buy both because I want to be able to review them for you. Now, I just want to say that the stylos have got a very, very long-lasting formula, and I just think over Christmas, that's what you need. It's going to be great for Christmas parties. And then I also think, you know, when you're kind of staying up late and, you know, you're wrapping and, you know, all of that, you're still going to look great by the end of the day. For me, I like to sort of stay up because on Christmas Eve, because I want to be able to, you know, have a quick chat with Santa and possibly give him a piece of my mind about what he gave me last year. So You know, that all counts. I want to look fresh and elegant for Santa, so he takes me seriously and I look, you know, suitably professional. Anyway, let us go on to what else is offered. We have got some lovely, I do think these are lovely, nail polishes. We've got Gold Circus, that's going to look really lovely. And we've got Plum Parade. Again, really lovely. And even though I won't be wearing these, I look forward to seeing them on everybody else, because I think these are, both of these actually are really lovely colours. And Plum Parade, that's a really good pedicure colour as well. So, yep, I think they've nailed it, hopefully, on that score. Dior has got quite a phenomenal lip product offering for the holiday season. So let's start off with the 4 lipsticks, which I'll show here. We've got, they're in the Rouge Dior formula. And we've got 999, which we know is part of their permanent offering. I think, well, I know it's the velvet finish, isn't it? Whether this is the velvet finish is another matter. But if you're a fan of that shade, it means you get it in the Christmas packaging. Then we've got, I mean, I am intrigued by this, 629 Parade. Now, I can't really tell. It looks like it's a sort of a deep brown, but I mean, you know, who knows? We're gonna need more swatch. Well, we're going to need some swatches. We're going to need more information. However, what's interesting about that is that number was a bronzy, peachy, glossy shade. So I don't know whether that's going to be quite an easy colour to wear if they're keeping within that theme. I mean, they know their numbers, and there's a lot of numbers out there, as we know. They have chosen those numbers for a reason. But anyway, look, it may or may not be the throwback from way back when that was sort of, that number was a gloss, and it was, as I said, it was a peachy bronze shade. But I'm quite intrigued because these are the kind of colours that I like. Then we've got 210, which is Circus. I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether that's going to be a light beige or not. I can't really tell. And I don't know whether that number has been, I mean, I had a look and I've not seen that in the lipsticks. I have seen it in their other products, but not in the lipstick. So maybe that's new. And then we've got 010 Crystal, which maybe that's sheer. Maybe that's going to be one of those. They do sometimes do this at Christmas, don't they? They do like a sort of a sheer wash, which has got gold running through it or silver running through it, which looks great if you're really young with amazing lips. So I will look forward to enjoying the models wearing those, but it won't be on my lips, I can tell you that for nothing. Then we have something very exciting. We have got Dior, they look like Dior Addict. Now let me just look at what the description is. If you just look at those shades while I look for the description. They've said, firstly, for the lipsticks, these are special holiday shades in limited edition cases embossed with winter motifs. Okay, so we know that. But there are also Dior Addict and Lip Glow oils that are going to be offered. I don't have pictures here of the Lip Glow oils. Now, I'm not a fan of that formula. I find it very expensive for what it is, but you know, let's see. And they describe them as iconic lip favourites in shimmering festive hues, as you would expect. So Dior Addict, now Dior Addict that's a formula I like, but I don't love. And I think I'd probably end up loving it a bit more if I could have found shades that I was sort of excited about. But they tend to be too deep for me, too red, too burgundy, too something. But let's see, these shades do look a bit more up my particular street, but I don't know whether they're going to be up your street as well. We have got, how many have we got? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 so far. We've got 10. Now, all those at the sort of the lighter end are definitely up my street, but we have got Flame, we've got 999 again, because we know that's a big seller for them. We've got Spectacular Icon. Now, Icon is a shade that I have had a mixed kind of history with. With a dark lip liner, it's fine. Otherwise, it's too light for me. We've got Carousel. We've got Magic. That looks very interesting. And then we've got a couple of other shades that I can't quite read, actually. And then we've got, what else have we got here? We've got Pink. Then these shades are actually more up my street. Pink Star, we've got Ribbons, and then we've got Spectacular Nude. It's a bit saucy. I don't know, I'm going to give these a go. I want to look at swatches, obviously, but you've got to give it to them. They're giving us an awful lot to choose from and get excited about over Christmas. And who doesn't love a lovely lippy over Christmas? It just lifts your spirits and keeps you going amongst all the mayhem and the tension and the arguments and all of that. Yeah, I don't know, I'm quite excited. What do you think? There's a lot there to enjoy. I do hope that there's a limited edition lip liner. I do like a limited edition lip liner, but I don't know whether they're going to grace me with that, because I would imagine that would have been there. But you know, I do like Dior lip liners, so I'm just here for anything that they give us. But there is more. There's more. And now on to the last few items in this fairly large range. Now, they do talk about this range having a lot of winter motifs. So presumably by that they mean snowflakes and maybe the odd Christmas bauble, as opposed to a broken leg from skiing or norovirus or something like that. And now we've got 3 blushes which look like, again, they're in the kind of festive packaging. We've got Starry Pink, 810, sorry, Starry Pink. We've got 830, Fiery Red, and we've got 850, Starry Mauve. And presumably these are different in terms of shades, to the blushes that came out, you know, a month or so ago. Probably about, it was a bit longer, wasn't it? But they have they've got the same packaging, but it looks like it's all gold instead of the silver, so that's in keeping. And then we've got, now I'm slightly intrigued by this, I have to say. We've got a product which they're calling 001. It's a bit of a struggle, this name. Abracadior. I hope they worked harder on the formula than they did on the name, which is just, you know, it's a bit silly, isn't it? This is a liquid highlighter. So if you're a fan of these sort of liquid highlighters, this may well be up your street. And again, it's got gold, it's got sort of, it looks Christmassy and it looks festive. And then finally, and I bet you this is going to be a real winner, we've got 001 Dior Star, which they're saying is a highlighter palette. Now, I can't tell from this. It may just be that it's one shade embossed, and it probably is that, isn't it? I can't tell because we don't know the size of it. But is it multiple shades? Is there sort of gradation there? Or is it kind of one big quilt effect? Because we know that that's a nod to the kind of Canage packaging. I don't know, but it does intrigue me slightly. Now, personally, I'm probably not going to go for the highlighter. I am, you know, Prada has ruined me for highlighters, I have to say. But, you know, I know that people go bananas for Dior highlighters because they can be fantastic. And if you want that really wonderful sheen, Dior delivers that in a non-chunky way. We know that. They do describe it as a soft focus highlighter. And they also say that the blush is soft focus. So, you know, if the highlighter is soft focus, maybe there's a different formula. I don't know. But I do think that that's going to be particularly lovely over the Christmas season. Now, one thing that they do wrap as they, in terms of the packaging, the way that Dior describes sort of the whole thing is that we should expect gold engraved compact. So again, it's going to be very special, isn't it? Snowflake motifs, okay, and luxury gifting boxes, okay, inspired by Dior's couture heritage and winter garden themes. So they really have gone all out this Christmas. So I don't know, we should expect it October to November 2025. I have to say that feels for Dior a bit late in the day. So it could well be that by the time I'm home and doing my holiday laundry, it's all launched, because they do everybody's launching really early, and to be launching October to November seems a bit too, frankly, normal Christmas launch times. And we know the launch times are just getting earlier and earlier and earlier. So let's see. But that is quite an exciting offering. Now that concludes this episode of the holiday season of Will I Buy That? I'm sure there'll be more coming up, but thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and let me know what you're tempted by. I look forward to hearing from you. Bye.